Men and Women Talk, the Mars Venus Show. I am one of your hosts, Kente, all the way live from Los Angeles, California. This is episode number 137, and I'm joined by my wonderful co-host, all the way from Florida, the one and only Shannon. How you doing, Shannon?
I'm good, but actually I'm from Minnesota today.
Oh, you're in Minnesota. Okay, all right, all right. You must have a lot of frequent flyer miles.
It's work.
Oh, okay, all right, that's what it is. Um, well, I'm glad that you are here, and looking forward to hearing your thoughts on the topic. And we are joined by the wonderful Leah, the life coach. How you doing, Leah?
Hey
Hi, I'm
girl.
good. I'm amazing. How are you guys?
Pretty good.
Good.
It's
Pretty
so
good.
amazing to be here. Thank you for the invite.
Let me ask you a question. Like,
Okay.
what do your your close friends call you?
Leah.
Just Leah? No.
Yeah.
Okay. No. Uh,
Leah the life coach.
LLTC or something like
I
that.
call myself LL. Sorry, I had a phone call. And I have an academy that I call the LLC Academy.
Oh, okay. All right. So I always wanted to ask you that. So
That's so funny.
all right. So tonight's topic, we're talking about jealousy. And obviously, this show we mainly talk about relationships and whatnot. Uh, but obviously, jealousy can creep their head in um, non-romantic situations as well,
Yeah.
and of course in relationships. So, the
Mhm.
bulk of our conversation will be in relationships. But I think I wanted to. Uh-oh. I think a good place I want to start off with is in just everyday life, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
So there's always a reason why I always want to talk about stuff, and a lot of times it's usually because the topic somehow came came into being in my life somehow. So usually when I want to do a topic, it's usually that. Um, but I'll say this: sometimes when I'm doing these shows
Mhm.
and I'm talking about a certain topic, they will revolve around somebody that I know personally, and that person will listen. And so sometimes I'll get like, Negro, you was talking about me, you know, or I had it where it wasn't about them, but they thought it was them, So, I do what I do, so it is what it is. But
Mhm.
in this case, um, I remember I think it was Pat Williams had this bit about you got to have so many haters or something like that. You know what I'm talking about? If you're not doing it right, you don't.
Yeah.
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 So I don't know. Let me start off with you, Leah. Throughout your life, um, have you noticed people? I'm sure the answer is going to be yeah. That you felt like they was jealous of you in some form or fashion, whether it's professionally or they man like you or whatever it is.
Uh-oh. Uh-oh. Actually, no, not at all. Not from my perspective, because I always try to see and give people the benefit of the doubt because they can take it there themselves. But I have had a lot of people come to me about situations that they saw as jealousy, and especially in the life coaching game. The life coaching game is gangster. Let me just tell you, I had no freaking clue. I mean, there's rules and ways about this that I was not ready for, and it definitely does not include my ears, my purple hair, the way I speak, the way I come, and the way I coach. So they let me know that real quick and blacklisted me out of the game real quick. So a lot of people have come to me and stated to me that they felt like I was blacklisted by certain people, that they witnessed their treatment of me to be jealousy. And I definitely
Mhm.
do not want to see that, especially about someone that I admire, respect,
Mhm.
want to emulate, want to learn from, and that I have nothing but love for. And I don't see it that way. I see it as a miscalibration, a misunderstanding of where I'm coming from, and I definitely get it from the way that I come off, but I just see it more as a misunderstanding. But I do think that I could probably talk about a few things in my business area that was could be called jealousy.
Well, a lot of times with jealousy, it really shines a mirror to the person who's jealous. Like if they're a life coach, right,
Hmm.
and they're jealous of you, it's because there's something they're not or they perceive they're not. And so a lot of times I see this a lot where, let's say you get something that they feel like they should have gotten as well, then
Mm-hmm.
they start feeling like, oh, it's because you have this inherent this advantage that maybe they don't have. Well, maybe because I have black hair, like I need to rock the purple hair. That's what and they don't realize it's more than that, right?
It's gonna look different on them. It ain't even gonna feel
Yeah,
right. They're not even gonna know how to walk and talk and be it. So you gotta develop your own thing and let it be more than enough, because it definitely is.
right.
that part. That part.
So my question is, we're all human beings, right? And we all, we make mistakes, and sometimes we on some BS. So as a as a
Sometimes.
life, as a life coach, if a person has realized this, you know what, I have this jealous spirit in me.
Yes.
And now, not we're not gonna go in the relationship part of it yet, but I'm jealous of my coworkers. Like, if they realize that, what are some things that you feel like a person can do to try to get that jealousy spirit out of them when it comes to that?
It's definitely a process, because your natural instinct comes with jealousy, but it's
Mm.
something that I compare to feelings. People take feelings in and they take that as the reality of the situation. When I see it as just an alarm of something that you need to pay attention to and ask yourself, how do you feel about this? So I compare it to fear. Fear needs to be there. It needs to let you know to be cautious, to take care with this, that you care about this, fragile, so same thing with jealousy. Something comes up, it just means like you care about this. Maybe you need to put your best foot forward. Maybe you need to do an inventory of yourself and what you want to do and how you want to present yourself, and see where the holes are missing in your life. And rather than focus on what looks good on another person or what's working for another person, try to implement things that work good for you. But know that the jealousy is natural and it should be there. I don't think people should try and suppress anything. I think all things are here for a reason. It is divinely created. So I just think it's the way that you take it in and process it and how you deal with it. So the jealousy to me is just an alarm that says, hey, you're feeling like you need to be doing something, and maybe you should. Maybe you do need to kick yourself in the butt. Maybe you have been a little off in what you've been doing, a little less diligent, a little less consistent, a little less quality put forth. So call yourself on that and give yourself a reality check and let that be okay. Let it be motivating, empowering to you, and natural to you. The not taking away from who you are and the greatness that you are.
Mm.
I can dig
Um, some people, like, they love to be the center of jealousy, right? They actually invite that spirit, like they want people to be like, yeah, like, look at me, I got this and that. Um, is that in your mind an unhealthy way to be? Like, if you invite that around you?
I mean, I try not to judge people and what they need. I think you got to meet people where they are and
Yeah.
allow them to go through the process how they go through it, because it's just different lessons and blessings for each and every one of us. So we're going to respond differently to different things. And I mean, I
Mhm.
always say, do what you do, how you do it, as long as you're not hurting anybody. So if they thrive and they work best under pressure, or it makes them level up in their game to have that praise, all right, what works for you works for you. I mean, we all have things that others would say that's not the proper way for you to get there, but I say get there how you get there, as long as you're not hurting anybody. Do no harm. That's all I say.
Now, going to the relationship side of this conversation, um, I've heard, I know you heard this before, that some people, they like their mate to be a little bit of jealousy, like a
Oh
little.
yeah.
Some
Is that like, what do you
enjoy
think about that?
Oh yeah, I definitely went through that as a young child. In my high school relationships, I was the green-eyed devil, like, and I would do things. To me, it was like they loved me, they cared about me. But you have to evolve out of that state. You have to look and see that that's not a
that.
day-to-day situation that you want to be a part of, be in, and
Mhm.
that's not the way that you need to get that fulfillment and that answer from that person. And if that is the way that you need to get that answer from that person, you maybe need a different person. And it's hard, because there was no stopping me when I was jealous. I'm an Aries too. Oh, Man, uh, it was a show. um, but you get tired of that and you find a different way and you get confident in yourself. And I really started to know that the universe delivers to me on a silver platter what's for me, and what isn't for me, it just doesn't come. No matter what you do, so I love the experience that the universe has for me, because I can't even fathom some of the things that the universe has presented to me and wants to present to me. So I allow that natural process to be of itself. So when a person is not my person, I can just let it go now. When it's jealousy there, I can't, you know because I think jealousy is also a form of control. And even in my adult years, when I got a grasp on my jealousy, I turned to a mate that did not have a grasp on his jealousy, and that turned very violent. And I was abused for years and treated less than, and it took a toll on my life, my confidence, my self worth, just everything. It diminished me to almost nothing. And so much to where when I was in a relationship, I wanted to become fat. I didn't dress. I didn't do anything, because if a guy said hello to me, I was going to get beat from jealousy, you know?
Wow. Actually, we're gonna go back to the relationship aspect, but Stephanie brings up a great one, and I've experienced this as a guy dating women, um, where the mother and daughter have a kind of a the mother is jealous of the daughter. Like I've experienced that myself, um, and I have my own thoughts and theories on why that is sometimes. What do you think about that? When the mother and daughter kind of have like it's usually it's usually manifests like in a competition almost. Have you ever?
Mhm.
What do you think about that?
Oh yeah, I see that all the time. And I think mothers are unknowingly doing that, because I think in the generation where our mothers came from in this time, they had to sacrifice a lot. And I think they carried a lot of burden, and they didn't get to fully become the butterfly that they envisioned themselves to be. And I think that that weighs heavy on them. And so when they're watching their child, and I don't think that they're just consciously saying, I don't want my child to be better than me. I think that that is just the natural alarm that comes up that says, hey, I didn't get this. Hey, I am lacking in this thing. Same thing as when I say it's an alarm and a fear, but mothers subconsciously just kind of have that jealousy in the daughter. I've definitely seen it. Um, have I experienced it with my mother? I mean, there probably were some instances where somebody would have said that about her, but like I said, I didn't take it that way, because I like to think the best of most people. I've definitely seen it. It's definitely something that goes on, and it's detrimental to the daughter, to the child. It really is. And it can be avoided, because there's so much life here. People think that there's a time limit on what you do and when you achieve things. So the mothers just need to take heed and make decisions now, here and now. You are still here and breathing. Do whatever it is you wanted to do then, do it now. And let that be a motivation for you and fuel you, and let your daughter be a support for you, because it's not too late. Do what you want to do, live how you want to live, and don't let this world make you feel like your opportunity is over, because it's not. It's never over until you're 6 feet under, and even then, it's not.
A lot of times you see it where the age gap is not that great.
Yeah,
So like maybe the mother's maybe only 15, 16 years older.
yeah.
So sometimes you see it in that and then I've seen that's where I think I've seen it the most. So the mother might still be, she's still out there,
She's still partying.
right? She's still, and
The boyfriend may look cute. Oh man,
Right. That
dicey,
part.
dicey.
you know, I,
Still trying to get her groove back.
Right.
right. So that's a trip though, and then to be as the man in the middle of that, it's kind of crazy. Now, look. I know it must go on, with fathers and sons as well.
Yeah.
Uh, I don't know too many instances myself where I've seen that, but I can only imagine. So I don't date dudes. So uh, anybody in the chat room or ladies on the panel who witnessed that,
Well,
can
I've counseled dudes and young men that have that pressure from their dad, and I think it comes off as
Mhm.
competitional and putting them into things that they didn't get to live out in their life, and wanting them to fulfill that dream through them and stuff like that. It's more of that way instead of a super competition,
Mhm.
but it kind of
Mhm.
comes more as they push them through really hardcore to do what they couldn't do.
Right.
Yeah, especially if they're like first generation.
Yeah.
Like the pressure is on.
Hmm.
Jealousy among siblings, that's big. It's funny, like no parent or very few parents, I don't say no parents, some parents do this, want to say that they have a favorite, but I think a lot of parents low key do have favorites, and
No.
Mm.
the kids, oh, my mother has a favorite.
No. There's
My-
different strengths that shine through each child.
okay,
Yep, all of that.
we'll go with that. But
But but I'm my mother's favorite,
I,
okay?
I'm not the favorite. No, no,
So Steph said some parents have favorites.
that
Oh,
is true. Like my brother John is my mother's favorite.
oh, it's not you, Kente.
Not me, not at all. It's John, and I reconcile that. I reconcile it by saying mom's like the weakest.
uh,
Yep, this is so rude.
So but but it's all good though. I mean, it is what it is. I don't think I mean me personally, I mean, I'm too grown to be like I'm not my mama's favorite. Like it's kind of silly to me. But for some
My mother
people
said
though,
she didn't have favorites.
huh?
My mother said she didn't have favorites.
Well, but
you can believe her, Shannon.
I mean, I tell my sister all the time, she ain't have favorites because she don't want to hurt your feelings.
but you know what though? I mean, I think I think some children may need more love or an attention from their siblings, so maybe that extra comes off like a favorite, or maybe
Yeah.
so like I don't know, maybe I think my brother. I don't want to say too much, but
Ugh.
my brother
Don't
maybe
start nothing, won't be nothing.
maybe
Come on
he
now.
might have he might have needed that. More than I did because you know I love myself, so I have a very strong love for myself. So
Yeah.
I don't feel like I don't know, I don't know, maybe I didn't need that. Like maybe my brother might have or whatever.
I think that's exactly the case. And I think that mothers try and show up for the children in different ways that actually support and work for them, and not just doing a blanketed mother thing across the board, because that does not work. And they are very different children that have very different needs. And I applaud the mothers that, take some time to individualize their children and give them what they individually need.
Now what
Mm.
Steph say in there is completely like my situation where I don't feel like I'm the favorite, but I'm the most responsible, reliable. Like I'm the first call on the speed dial if they need something or something like that. And
Yeah.
but I think a lot. I mean, one is they know that I'll probably get it done. I'm gonna get it done.
Mhm.
Another thing is I'm the only one that don't have like a wife and kids. So
Yep.
a lot of times I think the idea is like, well, he don't have those attachments, so he has more time or whatever. But
Time
I'm
and for in disposable money. That's not even right. It's not fair.
right.
It's inaccurate. I'm like, first of all, I got bills like everybody else. They may not look like theirs because they got kids or a spouse. I was like, but I'm the only person buying birthday gifts and Christmas presents and anniversary gifts. I said, I don't share that amongst the significant other. My children don't earn an allowance so that they can buy gifts for grandma. Like, I'm buying all this stuff by myself.
Hmm.
So do not expect me to do everything, okay? Just because I'm single without kids.
All
Cut
right.
it out.
Amen. And welcome to the show,
Cut it out.
Hey guys.
Hi, Grace.
brother
Hey.
Dre. I know Dre got
Hi.
a ton of haters.
What happened? What's that?
What's up? I said I know Dre got a ton of haters.
I hope not. I really don't want anybody hating on me because
Hey,
I try to love on everybody. But I do
sometimes
want to
it
ask
is
a
what
self reflective question, though. Everybody watching, and even those of you guys on this panel. Why even ask the question, who was the parent's favorite? So
Starting.
if we can ask that, right?
Uh-huh.
And really ponder it. Let's think about where that's coming from. Your
Well,
mom and dad has multiple children, and our concern is us being either the favorite or not the favorite among the siblings. That's something that we should really like look inside and be like, okay, why am I even asking this question? Why am I even thinking about it?
I
We're
think we
all
ask
siblings.
questions.
We should all give me yeah 1 second real quick. We should all like
Sorry.
really look at it as a family thing and not just like I'm better than you or mommy likes me better than you. Um, but just self reflective. What are your thoughts on that?
I think we ask the question so because we believe the person doesn't realize that they're doing this and that they're
Mhm.
affecting us in this way. So that if we ask the question, that they could ponder it and ask themselves why they're doing it and give a good answer that secures me and reassures me and makes me feel better about it. Or they can make a choice to see that, okay, when you give him candy just because he needed candy and I never expressed that I needed candy, maybe you could just throw me some candy, and that kind
Mhm.
of alleviates me feeling that way. So I
Mhm.
think it's just to alert the other person of what's going on and give them the opportunity to um, rectify it, explain it, assure them, comfort them, and that thing. But I can see how you could say why even put the question there. But I
No,
do hope and think that it is from a good place for to allow them to
yeah. Well,
rectify
the
the
reason why I
situation.
asked it because as I was listening, the reason why I ask it is because usually the one that's not the favorite, the one that is the favorite, generally don't have a problem with it,
right.
right? So, Larry Lev says, when your parent shows favoritism, that's an issue. Usually, it's not an issue for the person who's being showed favor. So that's why I'm saying it should be self-reflective on both sides, not just on the person who feels like they're not the favorite, also on the other one that does feel like they're the favorite.
Well,
So
I
that
mean, I
it's all
don't I don't have an issue. I mean, honestly, but I know some people that it does affect them. Like
mhm,
they be grown as hell and they still hold on to like mom and dad always loved you more and all of that
yeah,
stuff. So I mean, I just think it's funny. So
mhm,
I don't it's not something that really bothered me, and I feel like he needed. So you know what I'm saying. So
mhm.
that's how I reconcile it. But I feel like
'Cause
people,
you're the stronger one.
yeah, like I feel like
Mhm,
people be holding on to that stuff. People hold on to like I know people who got lists from junior high school of stuff they want to, like if I see JoJo in the streets, I'm gonna whoop it. You know what I mean? Like people hold on to that stuff,
mhm.
and you would think being a whole grown person, you'd be over that, but it's not always like that though. So it's crazy though, you know. But no, I mean, when I bring up the whole who's your parents' favorite, I'm just starting some shit. So that's all. I just do it on purpose. So
You
Oh
be throwing a
my,
bomb and
it's
walking
funny.
away.
yeah, yeah, it's fun. It's funny though. It's funny because some people like they'll laugh or whatever, and then other people they'll take that stuff real serious. Like don't say that because I love everybody. Like come on now, it is what it is. So it's not it ain't to me it ain't that big of a deal. But
Yeah,
and it's
my
all
sister was too far away in age.
huh.
I said me and my sister were too far away in age, so for me, it never really was an issue of who was the favorite. I was in kindergarten, she was in sixth grade. I was in sixth grade, she was graduating high school. So our relationships were so different in terms of what we did and who we were
Mhm.
that it wasn't an issue of were you my favorite? I'm sitting here learning how to write in cursive and you about to graduate high school. I mean, these are not the same issues.
Right.
So, I mean, we just had different needs. We were 6 years apart, and
Right.
you know,
I don't
And
and
think
I
I was
think
my mother's favorite either, though.
my mom said she didn't have favorites, but I mean, based on the way I grew up in my childhood, I just, I always would be like, okay, are we going to do this? Are we doing that? But again, we were 6 years apart, so I spent a lot of time with my mother that my sister had before I was born. So
and
yeah,
I've
I don't.
seen it where if like maybe there's a different father, um, and maybe the kid looks like the father that really sucked, then
What is most of?
that actually affects how sometimes they treat them
Yeah.
subconscious. I've seen that
Mhm.
where or it's like he looks
Okay.
like that. He
Thanks,
looks
yeah.
just like that guy that was a jerk, you know. So it's yeah, it's crazy though.
With
Um,
me, my mother preferred my brother because his father's white, so he has very fair skin, and my
Mm,
mother has just a little bit lighter skin than I do, but she does not own it like that, and she would prefer to be of lighter fair skin. So I
mm,
think he was a
mm,
better representation of her, and
mm,
I think of a more beautiful child presentation of her. And I think that's kind of why I got it. I mean, she would probably be mad right now if she heard me, but I very much felt that way. And she very much talked about the lighter fair skin all the time, all the time. And then I got it all the time with my brother being so
Brown people
light.
like
Every time we see each other, it was just the focal point of it, of why I'm so dark and why he's so light.
mm.
yeah.
Well, both of my parents, both of my parents were white, and no, I'm just kidding. No, no,
I was like, since when?
no,
Uh,
no, I'm mixed with black and black. But so I definitely seen that too, and it's very unfortunate. You would think too, in this day and age, we would be beyond that, but it
yeah.
goes on. Now, now to go back to the relationship side, um, it's funny. Like some dudes, right, are totally like chill about everything, right? Like they'll go to a club and a guy wants to dance with a woman, and he's like, sure, have fun. And he might be. I think we even touched on this on the after show before. And
Hmm.
and if they dance a little suggestive, he's like, they just dancing, right? Then you get those guys that be like, you ain't messing with nobody up in here but me. Like, I don't care if I'm on
I,
crutches.
I was in Miami Carnival in 2015, right? And like Caribbean culture is beautiful in where if you appreciate the culture, the music, the people, good vibes, dancing is just that. And usually people who are coupled up aren't in that jealous mode. So I was dancing with this lady, and after she was done, she politely said, right, and this really happened. She politely said, "Thanks for the dance. I'm going to go with my husband now." I look over at the husband, and I'm thinking, "Oh, this is going to be some heat." And he gives me a salute, waves his hand, and smiles at me as they walk off dancing together.
Uh,
Aww.
That's sweet.
So there's times when it can happen, but then you got these crazy jealous couples who are very insecure on themselves and they don't see dancing as dancing and just people having a good time.
and real talk, and you can
It's a fine line sometimes.
say what you want, but about
Preach. That's right.
there is a line or a level,
Mhm.
and it's like, okay, there's dancing, and then there's like screwing on the dance.
Mhm.
So you know, um,
That's
I don't know. That's cool with that. That's crazy, and especially that West Indian dancing. Uh, they be doing with where they jump off the tables and land on.
That's not West Indian dancing. That's that's I'm not even gonna call it what it is because I'll have some people offended watching this. But that is definitely not. She said it. I wasn't gonna say it, but that's like a whole different iteration of dancehall. I didn't
Yeah,
grow up like that.
I don't know. I don't know if I want somebody jumping off a balcony and landing on my. That may not be the business. But so my question, let me ask you, Shannon, is how would you feel if you had a dude who was just pretty chill with every, like, they're sure do the lambada with this random stranger at the club, or or whatever. Would you want him to be a tad bit like, nah, baby, nah, you ain't doing that.
so he's the one doing the dance, or I'm the one doing the
You
dance.
just doing it.
Oh, both. I want to know.
Let's do both. Let's do.
I'm just, if he's doing the dance, and I'm here for it. Like I'm gonna sit there and watch, and I mean, he might even get a scorecard when he's done, and I'll be like, okay, so
Ah,
how do you take this home? Like, amen. I've seen some moves I need to practice later on with
Okay.
you. But for me, I think there's a fine line. You have to have that conversation. You got to be secure in your relationship. I don't mind dancing with other people, but I'm not going to be trying to impregnate them on the dance floor either. That's not appropriate. I got a man.
But how would you? But let's talk about how. how would you feel if your man was totally accepting?
If he was okay with it,
Yeah, would you want him to be a little tad bit like nah, or you know?
I think I have my own boundaries, regardless of how accepting he is of it. I don't necessarily think it's always appropriate to be about somebody like you're about to make love on a dance floor. I mean, now there are certain dances that are intimate and they require a suggestive dance, and those are different types, and that's totally different. But I think my husband, my significant other, whoever, he better learn them dances so he won't be in his feelings. Because I do like to dance. I mean, and I know various forms of dance, so I'm gonna be on the floor when the music come on. If you don't mind coming out there and dancing with me, whether he can do it or not, I mean, I could teach. Be willing to learn. So
Is so okay, Leah, is a tad bit of jealousy, um, is that should a man or a woman have a tad bit of jealousy?
For me, I'm such a loyal
Uh-oh.
person, yet a free spirit. So I need the freedom,
yeah,
but I need you to be attentive to me because I may need you to step in when someone is overstepping their bounds because men get real ego tripping when you need to say, "Hey, I have a boyfriend. I need you to back up just a little bit."
yeah,
So I need them just to be attentive to the situation in case I need them to, put that little muscle in. But I'm a very loyal person, and I mean, you have to know I'm super loyal. And if the guy is doing nothing and just nothing, I'm okay with that because I'm not going to do anything to make you jealous. There's no man
yeah.
that was going to be jealous from something I do because I'm so
Mhm.
committed, and I'm just not going to do it if I'm not committed.
Mm, okay. All right.
Yeah.
Now let's talk about the more extreme forms of jealousy.
Hmm.
Uh, like I'll be honest with you, I've been in a relationship before, but one specifically where she thought I was screwing everybody. Like,
Right.
I mean, like
Been there.
she was like, I mean, like I remember one time we went to TGI Fridays, and she got mad because the waitress was too smiley, and I'm like, she's just trying to get a tip.
That's
You know
not
what
fair.
I'm saying? Like, and she just and it was so bad at one point, and I wasn't doing anything, right? Like Bobby Brown, I wasn't ain't nobody humping around, right? And so, and then finally, I was like, you know what? I wish I was this cool dude that was cool. He sounds pretty good. Like,
I wish I was pulling like that.
yeah, I'm glad you had this faith in me that I'm going around. I got the TGI Fridays girl. I got the girl at the this and this and that. I'm like, that's not me. You the only crazy person that want me. So,
Oh.
you know, so I don't know if I imagine some of you guys have probably experienced that. Like, what do you even do with that? Like, when you start to see that.
You Well, you gotta have a conversation, and sometimes you gotta redirect energy. It's like, that's unfounded. That's not who I am. That's not what this is. Your security should be in our relationship. And any insecurities that you have, let's unpack those. But ultimately, if they're not willing to deal with their insecurities around how they feel about relationship with you, that ultimately becomes sometimes the downfall of the relationship. You need to check that. Like, that's personal, and that
Mhm.
might be a problem if it goes unchecked. Because I don't need you in the bushes when I'm having lunch with my teacher.
Right. I definitely agree. It needs to be addressed very quickly because, like I said, how I stated the relationship that I was in, it got very, very abusive to where waiters and waitresses were the worst. Like, I was always going to go home and just,
Mhm.
it was going to be the worst night of my life. And I remember a time I went to go get the mail. And there was this guy walking towards me, and I had my head down, and I was like, "Please don't speak to me! Please don't speak to me! Please don't speak to me!" And my dude was nowhere even around, but I was like, please don't speak to me. He said hello. I said hello without even looking, kept me moving. I got upstairs and it was just waiting for me. And I think that's
Mhm.
so unhealthy, and it can escalate from 0 to 100 so quick.
Yeah.
And I stayed so long, and it did so much damage, and it's not worth it. you think that that
Oh,
person loves you and they're confused and you can love them through this and you can change them, and that's really something that they got to do on their own. They have to see that jealousy emotion as an alarm and not something that they need to react on in that manner, because they tend to see it as they're right. You did
mm,
something wrong, and as a discipline, a discipline that they need to show you. You are a grown adult. You need not be disciplined from your partner, especially not in a physical manner like that. But it can get there so quick because they have this reality in their head, just like Kente said, that everybody wants you and you're just messing with everybody. And that can go and be so quick. How do you defend yourself from something that isn't the reality? It's so hard. You know, they have it in their mind, that's what they see, that's what it is, and that's how they react, and you're penalized for their mind, the stories that's in their head. So you
Mhm.
cut that off real quick, go on and keep it moving, let them go to counseling on their own. And you take care of you.
Now,
Yeah,
Dre,
I think yeah.
go ahead.
I yeah, jealousy is such a weird thing because um it can either be toxic for a relationship, or if it's done correctly, it can protect the relationship.
yeah.
And if I may explain, so let's say I'll give an example. Let's say you get involved with somebody and you're having dinner somewhere, and the waitress is overly friendly, and the young lady was like, "Well, what you do to her to make her feel so friendly to you?"
Ooh.
Right? Like that's like one of those. Okay, that's probably going to go in the direction of toxic jealousy.
Mm-hmm.
But then if she was to say, "Hey, babe, keep your eye on her. She's a little bit too flirtatious. Try to keep your distance from her because I think she's trying something." That kind of
Or they,
jealousy will help protect the relationship. So there's that toxic jealousy where it's like, yo, why you looking at homegirl like that? And then there's that, oh, just keep your eye out. So I say that to say this: when uh when I before I got divorced, when I was married, um I was really clueless to women that may have liked me. I really was. I was married. I was loyal. I was a pastor, so I was always talking to everybody, male and female alike. And sometimes I was oblivious to if a woman had eyes for me. My ex-wife was not. She was not oblivious to that. And I will say this about her:
Amen.
she used that jealousy radar in a positive way, where she would check me and say, not really check me, but like pull me aside and say, um, "Dre, I think you need to watch out for her. I noticed her looking at you, and I know you're a pastor, you engage with everybody, but make sure you keep your eye out for her, and I would recommend you keeping your distance." And I took heed to things like that. That helped protect me in a relationship. That protect me from going, outside of the marriage. So yeah, it may sound crazy, Steph, but if done correctly, it can look just like that.
Hmm. Like men know men generally, and women know women, and
Mhm.
No,
I know I've said this
disagree.
before on the show. No, what I'm saying is, a lot of times you see things that maybe your partner don't see. So, like I always talk about the hovering dude. That's the guy that he's like, oh yeah, I'm friends with you, Leah. We're buddies. We're like brother and sister. But a guy knows like, no, that's not the case. A lot of times I've seen it, and they'd be like, no, that's be like my brother or whatever. But no, that dude, you can tell that guy. You can tell that guy that he's full of boo boo, and like, so I'm like, yeah, yeah, he's like your Alabama cousin, your Mississippi cousin or stuff like that. So sometimes that's not jealousy, that's just your radar going off and you see things that maybe your partner don't see or
Yeah.
maybe you don't want to see.
Yeah, I'm
So
definitely down for, the open communication. And like I said, jealousy is like fear. You don't want to suppress anything. You want to take heed to it, but you want to handle it and process it in the right manner. And I think Andre's wife did that in the right manner. I think they had
Ex-wife,
a I do
ex-wife.
apologize, your ex-wife. Handled it, and both of them handled it in the correct manner and processed it for what worked for them. And I applaud that.
mhm. um like Andre said he was oblivious, right? And a lot of times, look, I've been oblivious. I've dated people who were oblivious to people and all of that. And sometimes, not saying in your case, Andre, but sometimes people are oblivious, but are they really oblivious? Like, is that,
Yeah, I was just thinking that too. Yeah.
it's like you don't know,
Oh, really?
right?
Really? No, nah. That's
And
nah.
there's a term for it where, actually, I think LA said it on one of her shows. There's a term for when someone makes you feel like the truth isn't the truth.
Hmm.
Like, if she's in the chat, where they'll make you feel crazy about something you see, like gaslighting.
Gaslighting.
Yeah, yeah,
Hmm.
yeah.
Yeah.
Where it's obvious this
Go
is what
Ella.
yeah, it's obvious this is what's going on, but they make you feel like, oh no, you're crazy. That's not what's going on. No, just because you walked in and I was straddling him, like,
That's like my brother. Come on.
right, right,
You're overreacting.
right, right,
Like we grew up together. We seen each other naked and stuff. Took baths together. We're
You
just
know, we
friends. That's all it is.
right. And then some people though they really start questioning what they're
Yeah.
like. Well, maybe I am overreacting. I mean, they were just laying in the bed naked. That don't mean they were doing something.
Mhm.
That
yeah,
kind of.
no, that's not okay.
So um, so there. I mean, all all feelings of jealousy, or I don't even know if it's jealousy, but if you question your mate, well, that's just you're playing stupid. You're stupid, hilarious. Not all cases of I don't know if you want to call it jealousy, but like when you see a situation in your relationship where it's like it doesn't feel right, and then you sometimes you'll balance in your head, am I just being jealous or is there something really there? Now in the laying in the bed, that's just obvious, but sometimes it's not so obvious. And then you really wrestle in your head like, am I just being, a jealous asshole or is there something there, And like how do you Leah, how do you reconcile that you know where you start questioning yourself? Like, am I reading too much into it, or is there something really there that I should be worried about?
Um, man. I take people at their word and at face value, but the dealing with the men that I've dealt with, they're not so forthcoming. So I think that you really have to take inventory of how you feel, and
Mm-hmm.
how you feel matters no matter what they say. So I think a lot of men get, I don't know, they're just not forthcoming with me. So um, I try to take the man at face value and just go to them, because I would like to advise you to go and ask that man and have a conversation. But I do think that men are real good at just giving you and feeding you what they want you to hear. So I think that you really have to go with your gut feeling and really have a serious conversation where they understand that you are completely feeling this way, and they need to give you some type of assurance or something that really makes you feel comfortable with moving forward with them, because it's all about trust and communication, and being feeling secure in the partnership.
Now
Mm,
I'm going to
that
bring
part.
up different scenarios and tell me what you think. Shannon, you want to take this time to give a shout out to the people in the chat?
Sure. We have Steph, and I think this is LL, Aaron, my girl D. We got Q, Larley, LA, Anthony, and Angie. And then we had a few people that were here earlier, Brad, and some others. So, and then of course Leandra.
All right, all right, all right. So
Thank you, guys.
there are a couple of situations that are very interesting, and there's this phenomenon of the workplace husband or the workplace wife. You hear this a lot. Is like, oh, this is my, and they actually have a husband or a wife. You know, you know, and
Mm-hmm.
and sometimes because they work so much with each other, they sometimes they see each other more than they see their actual husband or wife.
If I may interject,
Uh huh.
that's precisely the reason why I would never date somebody that's a cop, firefighter, If they work in the ambulance, like I just won't do it. I just won't do it. Especially if they have a partner that's a male. I can't do it because uh, they can be unattractive, right? But proximity and time will
Steph.
create something happen. No, listen, no, listen. Like they don't have to be cute, but they spend enough time together in close proximity, they start looking cute to one another.
Mhm.
I'm
Well, they
good,
have a
and I
natural
just won't.
bond.
I just won't put myself in that kind of situation. So in that sense,
No,
I'll be jealous. I'll be jealous, and that jealousy is going to protect me even before I get in a relationship.
Mm-hmm.
I feel you. Yeah, I I don't know if I would not date a firefighter or a cop, but I can understand where he's coming from for sure.
Watch
Um,
somebody in the ambulance. They be in that car right next to each other, and sometimes there's no calls for like maybe an hour. What are they doing all that time?
Why teachers, Steph? Why teachers, Steph?
I'm
preachers are
about to be a teacher.
I
Watch
get
it.
preachers, but why the teachers, Steph? Let
Sorry,
me
sorry.
know.
why not preachers?
Why preachers or teachers? I'm
Yeah,
Preachers,
like
I
I'm double
get.
offended. I'm doubly offended now. Like,
He is double offended.
Dre is cold.
come on. No,
He's like that's a double no to Dre. Dang, that's cool. Um, no, yeah, he's a preacher and a teacher. Um,
yeah. Well, I think the Steph has a good point. Um, like the inside in almost any kind of job, there's fraternization that happens. Um, uh, Particularly with when it comes to men in education, they're so few and far between. So, I remember when I first started working at the school I was working at. It was like fresh meat, and I'm not the most attractive guy in the world, but you don't have to be that attractive. You're the only guy, or one of the only guys in a place full of all
Mm-hmm.
women. They'll look. And also when it comes to preachers, some preachers do have a very big head, and they think they're the man. And when you give them any kind of power, they try to use that power to
like,
yeah to
Hey,
get
Danny.
back to
Hi,
do bad things.
Danny. I think it's hard to date like masseuses and
Mm,
strippers and models
Yeah.
girl, my
and
hair
fitness
color.
instructors,
wait a minute,
Not really.
trainers.
what about life coaches? Is that difficult?
Oh, that is kind of like the new kind of. It is. It is.
Like,
No.
It is.
are you coaching off hours though in the relationship? Like,
I have a hard time knowing who I'm dating and who I'm coaching all the time. All the time. I don't know whether to send them a bill or what.
oh, that might be interesting. Date a life coach to get free life coaching.
They do too. They do. I
Good
swear
idea.
they do.
That's a good idea.
I think that we're going good and it's great. They just want advice from me. I just give good advice. The next subject, it'll be 6 months in. They'll come tell me about their wife. They're engaged. They getting married, got kids. I'm like, wait, what just happened here? That happens to me all the time. That's why I
Girl.
said men are not forthcoming with me.
Real quick, I'm gonna go to Anthony. Did type out a long thing. Let me see.
You want me to read it?
Yes, please.
Hold on, I gotta go up. Or I hope I gotta go up. Oh, hold on, Anthony. We're gonna get there.
Comedians too, Danny. I agree. Now that I'm in the kind of comedian world, I agree.
Comedians.
Yeah.
I reposted it.
So
Oh, wait, you did? That's my
Yeah.
first new chapter.
Yeah, I'm going.
Okay, so I remember once I was in a bookstore minding my own business, and I happened to notice they had some Doctor Who stuff on discount. I was just looking through the stuff. There was a woman there, and we happened to have small talk about a common interest that we shared. Everything was fine until the boyfriend or the boyfriend wannabe showed up and made me feel like I was less of a person just because I was talking to someone in a non-sexual way about something that we both enjoyed. My attitude was that it was just a general conversation, and that's the only way that I viewed it.
I don't know if that has much to do with you than it does to do with the person that was jealous. Yeah, like if you're having a conversation about a book in a bookstore with somebody that's looking at the same book, and another
Mhm.
guy comes in and he's jealous, he's the issue. You got nothing to.
Yeah, yeah.
That's not
Like,
much.
he's not. He just seemed like one of those guys that he don't want nobody talking to his lady. So he
And
sees everybody as they they got some kind of aim. So but look, this is what I do when I notice that kind of dynamic. I just parachute out of there because hey, that's their relationship. They got to deal with it. I'm not gonna force myself into it on principle or anything like that. I know some guys will just they'll stay there to antagonize it, but the way I look at it is, I'm not gonna be around, and she has to deal with it. So, I just take myself out of the equation, and you have a good day, and move on. So that's probably the best way that I've handled it. Is just take yourself out of it. She got to stay with this guy, So, and she's with him, for a reason. So that's how I deal with it. But I want to go back to the workplace thing. Um, uh, One issue too is when somebody's in a relationship and they start dealing with coworkers off the clock, right? And it's not necessary. So it's like, oh baby, me and Jack from the office is going to go out for drinks, you know. And look at Dre's face.
I was like, you can come. Me and my boyfriend to meet you there.
What do you think about that,
that
Dre?
Shannon.
What do you think about that, Dre?
Like my answer, Dre?
Yeah, I like your answer. Love your
Wow.
answer. No, listen. I don't like if you're married, right? Specifically when you're married, like if you're dating somebody you're not married yet. I can't really speak too much on that, but if you're married, you made that commitment to be married. You got to avoid putting yourself in situations that could lead to stuff like that. I know
Mhm.
there's a lot of jobs out there who will have holiday parties and things like that where the spouses are not allowed to go. Um,
What?
I
Yeah,
question I
crazy.
question that. Like, why would you have a holiday party that spouses are not allowed to go? What's happening? What's happening that spouses are not allowed to attend a holiday party with their spouse that work
Eyes
at
wide shut?
your? What's that?
What is it? Eyes wide shut party?
It goes down at holiday parties.
No, listen. I remember the one time I went to a holiday party when I worked like in the secular field was a couple. I want to say in 19 no in 2001 when I worked at a school in Rhode Island. They had a holiday party, and I asked to bring my
Snap.
wife. And he was like, "For what?" I said, "Why not?" I was the only one that brought my wife to that party. The only one,
Right.
you
Good
know.
man. Good man.
And we had a good time. We had a good time, you know. I just think that yeah, it sets the stage for things like infidelity to happen.
Yeah. I don't know, like, or what about when somebody you're dating is
See,
constantly bringing?
Steph, no, like, did you read Steph's comment?
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I
It
remember.
happens.
I remember that situation.
It
He
happens.
said, "I remember
No,
it."
You remember? Oh,
she,
you the dude.
she,
Who was there?
no,
Who
no,
was
no.
there?
She mentioned it before,
Yeah.
but like sometimes it's what they're constantly mentioning, like, oh, just from accounting,
It's stupid.
so you know, or for ladies, if he's always talking about his coworker, oh man, Michelle, man, she's just Michelle's this, Michelle's that. Like he's always talking about Michelle, and it's not Michelle's getting on my nerves. They need to fire Michelle. It's like, he seems to be integrated. She seems to be integrated in his life in a way that like how do you? I mean, what do you do? Do you what kind of questions do you ask? Like, do you should you be curious? I mean, you're going to be curious. It's natural.
Yeah.
So, because I mean, a lot of people they don't want to be the jealous person. But then there's some things where you need to be on the ball, like to see what's up.
It's all about, and I think it's important to have some healthy boundaries. There's nothing wrong with hanging out with your coworkers outside of work if that's what you and your significant agree on, because there might be something in that coworker that's like trying to they had to have their eye on you forever and they've been trying to get you alone and they want to take you home and they want to show you they can do it better. I mean, you never know what someone's motive or intentions are, especially when you're spending time with them outside of work. They may not be as aggressive or pressing at the job. They think, it's a place of professionalism. But I also think that you should have your own set of boundaries around how you deal with people, because even if their motives aren't pure, yours can be.
Yeah.
Um, and how you maintain a level of decorum. For me, I'm all about avoiding all appearances of evil. I don't want anyone to see me out with my coworker and they be like, "Oh, I'm gonna have to tell her man that she was all chummy with so and so, and they looked like they were in a compromising situation." Like, I don't want that to ever be the case. Now, some people just talk because they ain't got nothing better to do, and so somebody will run and tell it even if there ain't nothing to be
They,
told.
we're
But
in a different time, Shannon. They're not running and telling anything. They're taking pictures and texting it
I
to.
mean, and that I mean, but there's still the same difference. Any angle of
Savage.
the picture can be told in a totally
Mhm.
different way than what happened. So the
Yeah.
point I'm saying is that you have to be mindful of how you engage people and what that looks like, and keep lines of communication open. I'm not gonna not tell my significant other that I'm going out to have drinks with my coworker who happens to be a man with a penis who likes women with a vagina. Like, I'm not gonna not tell him that. That's just not appropriate.
This is where
Um,
my like job comes into
like, like you just don't
like
do that.
Yeah.
So,
my thing being a life coach, sometimes I have to do that, but I'm fully open. Like my call home to my significant other would be, hey, I have to meet with such and such. They're having a hard time dealing with this. Would you like to join us? And I always kind of leave that door open, and I'm kind of free with my job, and I always leave it like that. But I also communicate very well that I'm a very loyal person. Like, my person that I'm going to be with knows me. They know who I
100.
am. They know how I get down. I don't play like that. I create strict boundaries when I'm at work. I have other jobs where I do, where I actually work in a building, and it's not just life coaching, where I see the girls. It's kind of like a nursing kind of atmosphere. So
Mm-hmm.
the guys might slap them on the ass, or say some derogatory stuff to them, but that's because sometimes the girls, they get down like that, and they create that opening where it's accepted, where they've done
Yeah.
something that has allowed them to feel that they can do that. I never get to that level with people always know what my boundaries are, but me being a life coach, I definitely have that scenario and issue where I'm meeting it's if it's a guy or a girl, I don't see it that way. So, but I am very good at setting my boundaries. Someone knows how not to step to me, and I leave it open for my significant other to be a part of it always.
And I think you hit the nail on the head, Leah, when you said, I mean, you pointed out several key things: boundaries,
Mhm.
which is, I think, is always important in any relationship, and you got to kind of know what they are and stick to them. Because I think when people set boundaries, the harder part is sticking to them.
Yeah.
You get comfortable with this
You
work
get caught
husband
up.
or this wife, and it's like, oh, I'm
Yeah.
so, and then you romanticize the relationship when there should be no romance there. And
Yeah.
so, I mean, thank God that in my struggle. But I've always been of one, I'm not picking up uh digs and my paycheck in the same place. So, you know, we can go hang out. But it best be that we hang out in a group, because as soon as you start getting flirtatious, I don't want to have to give you the uppercut and then call my boo and be like, "Yo, we having some problems," because by then I already laid you flat on the floor.
Gotta
But
let them know.
some people like that stuff. Some people feed into that energy, and that's how you open that door of confusion and chaos. And these work relationships become a real romance. And
Mhm.
instead of them just taking you out for drinks, now they touching your leg at the meeting at
Right?
work, and it's,
Don't do
yo,
it.
I've been
But the
first
uncomfortable,
of all,
the
I need you
uncomfortable
to
back.
back up, Donnie. Like, that's not gonna work for me.
I always say
Um,
the easiest man to obtain is a man that has a significant other, because there's always shortcomings in that relationship. And all you
true.
have to do is kind of find those shortcomings and become the opposite of that. And it doesn't take much, because you don't have to go home and do those 12 hours with them and be in that household and ask them to take out the trash and do all that. So it's really easy for you to create this facade of how you are leveled up from their
Pl-
significant
pl-
other or mate. But
Pleasure
Yeah.
P.
don't get
Pleasure
it
P
twisted.
has a song about it. It's called Boyfriend Number Two. Have you heard it?
What? No.
Boyfriend number
Have you heard it?
two. My bad.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow, that's interesting.
Steph has another scenario.
Okay. What about a homosexual male that is jealous of you because you become friendly with a man he's attracted to in the workplace?
What? Wait, what? What happened? I need to
You
read it.
better sit down somewhere.
I gotta
Ain't
read
nobody
it.
playing with
What
ain't nobody playing with you.
Wait, I
a
have
gay
another
man,
scenario.
a gay man who's
Yeah.
competitive with you over a guy? That's interesting.
Over look, I mean, is this a heteronormative individual that he's attracted to? Because it's I am certain
Gay men always feel they can turn a heterosexual man gay. So you would
they
stand in
do.
their way and they would have an
They
issue
do.
with
Of
you
course they
stepping to a
would.
guy that they feel that they are attracted to, whether they are heterosexual or gay, identified
I mean, but at
openly.
the end of the day, it's like, I mean, I think we have, and here's another issue with the whole jealousy thing. There are some people who feel like they have the right to possess other people. Like you are not
Like possessive, yeah.
property,
Yeah.
and because I'm now your work wife, I own you. Like that's not how that works.
No, not at
Like
all.
we don't own each other. Even when someone says this person has become my husband or wife in real life, we're still not each other's personal property. We don't own each other. Like we have a commitment to each other. We have a covenant together, but people still make individual choices and there still need to be boundaries and there still need to be safeguards and protections around things. But sometimes people take possessiveness of other people way too far. And that's why people be in
Leah,
bushes.
you're
Like
mute.
I'm gonna keep returning back to people in bushes. People be in bushes because they be possessed than a mug, and you don't even know the person likes this other person, and then you wonder why they're trying to stab you over somebody that's your work husband.
So,
Like, boo, you can
Steph,
hurt
when
him.
he does that,
You're
you
not a
gotta
real.
blow him a kiss.
Hmm. Yeah, that's crazy. Leah, you're on mute. By the way. Um. So yeah, that's crazy though. Yeah. I don't know, man. And going back to the whole thing is, I don't think a gay man can turn a heterosexual man gay. I
They
feel,
think so.
yeah, I feel like you were always,
Yeah, it's
you know, you were just lying to yourself, bro.
They've turned a few that didn't know. And you don't
Yeah,
know you're lying to yourself until you in there.
I know. I know God.
well, first. Wait, don't be in there.
Right, right.
Avoid
That
that.
ain't.
If you're heterosexual, don't be in there.
I'm gonna mind my business. That ain't got nothing to do with me.
Ooh, what about friends that are jealous of your ambition? They weren't your friends in the first place.
Right,
Friends are the
Because
ones that want to see you win.
right.
friends want to see you strive to
Period.
the higher level of yourself and to the most excellent version of yourself.
Yeah.
You get you some friends that are striving also in that same department, and it's not a competition. It's not a jealousy thing. It's a I want to see my girl succeed. How can we get you to this level of success? Oh, you want to pump? We got you on a review. Oh, you want to do this business? We gonna buy the first 100 t-shirts. Like people are going to be in your corner. The wrong people rowing in your boat, they not rowing, they poking holes. So you know the difference between people based on what they are bringing to your life. And I don't mean just material, just substance, value, building you up, holding you accountable, being there for you in the good and the bad. Them ain't friends if they jealous. Get
It's like, Letitia, your crown is slightly crooked. Let me fix it for you. There you go, Queen. Go ahead, go for a walk. Do your thing. That's what you
You know
guys
what?
gotta do.
I really believe that every so many years you should do a purge. Really look at who's in your life and see
if
if you need to.
And go and shoot them,
A few
kill them,
years,
well,
that's
or
too
just
long.
get rid
I
of
mean
them a little
as
bit.
often and I think you should do a purge as often as you
Well,
deem
I mean,
necessary.
You should calibrate every day,
That part.
everything that comes in, and let
no,
the
I say
results
a few years
stand and be where
because
they are.
um, sometimes you do got to allow people to build up a reservoir of behavior or whatever. Sometimes it's right away, so you that to me is just like you're gonna just do that. But sometimes there's situations where it, you can see it more over a period of time versus like it's right in your face. If somebody's doing some crazy shit like right off,
Right.
like you can see it, then yeah, you purge that right out. But But sometimes you need to take to sit back and see, like, who's really on your team. And
Oh, absolutely.
I've had
Yeah.
situations where I started looking at them like they ain't down with me like that, you know, and I had to do the purge. So, you know, it is.
But they live though, right?
I
Hmm?
agree with you about.
They live. Okay, so not like purging
Yes,
and
they
like killing
live.
them
Trey.
off,
He's so funny.
slicing them off. Okay.
I don't actually fire any of my friends or anybody that does things to me because I think that we're all humans and we make mistakes and we're just doing the best we can with the information and knowledge that we're given at the time that we're given. And you can't stop nothing I'm doing. So I don't mind being there for you. Like you can't do nothing to me. I'm okay. So I always equate it to, like, if you have a friend that steals, don't leave her alone in your house. If you have a friend that can't cook, don't have her
That's
cook
right.
Thanksgiving dinner. If you have a friend if you have a friend that's kind of
That's
promiscuous, don't
right.
leave her alone with your man. There, there's just calibrations that you could take with each individual because we're all going through stuff. We all just don't know what we don't know until we know it. And I'm not here to judge you, or I'm just here to calibrate you and place you where you need to be in my life in accordance to how I am and how you're spinning out of
Man, I'm
control
not
and
here to
affecting me.
judge,
I,
So, but I
but
don't need to
being
I
judge
feel
you.
you. I feel you what you're saying, but there's some people that are so toxic. They so
They still
toxic
can't
though.
stop nothing you're doing.
Like I ain't gonna
And
lie. There's some people that I got rid of that I really felt like that was a good thing. Like it really, you tossed them out
oh
with the
yeah,
trash. Um,
yeah.
so I'm not saying because JoJo, did a little something, then kick him to the curb. But I mean, like, yeah. See, Steph says I block and delete regularly. Sometimes it's beautiful, man. It's a beautiful thing. So and sometimes it got to be your family. Sometimes,
That's a whole nother hour.
yeah. Sometimes it's your family. You gotta purge family members out of your life, and it sucks. It makes family reunions awkward, but it is what it is.
well, that's the thing. If you don't have to fire them, you just have to place them far enough away
Yeah.
from you to kind of be out of the situation. Because you have to allow mothers and families to be who they are. Like my mother gets on
Come
my
on.
last nerve, and I can do a countdown of when she is about to get on my nerves. But the 10 minutes that I get with her is joyous and great. And at that 11-minute mark, when it's over, I'm
Okay.
like, okay, see you later. But that 10 minutes is that energy that carries me, and that's the power that I have. I don't have to stick around for when it doesn't feel good. But I tell you, there have been so many people that I should have X'd out of my life and never spoke to them on terms of how that is. But I turned around and got so much goodness out of them. I have people in my lives that are sexist towards me, are racist towards me. Even they are the same people. And their
Yeah.
classes towards me as well, and they are the same person. But I should just turn my back on them and not give them the time of day. But I tell you, it's like the homeless man and the rich man, and one rich man that gives $10,000, and another person, the homeless man, that gives 10, which was all he had. So I see that person as giving me the love that they know how to give me at this point in time. And I tell you, on the back end of what I got from them, it's been so
Hmm.
precious. It's been so priceless that I had those moments with them. And if I would have X'd them out, I would have traded what I can completely handle and see that that's their problem and not take it on me in any way, and then place it to where it doesn't affect my life, but still get the joy and fulfillment that they can bring to my life, because it's always there. The good and the bad is always there. You choose a polarity and where you want to be in it. And that's where I think we miss the mark. We're not choosing, we're allowing it to just be our environment or our situation, instead of saying, hey, this is the way I want it, this is where I'm going to place you, this is what I get from you, and how I deal with you. And we
See,
have
that's why
Yeah.
that power
that's why I love
always.
Leah, the life coach, because she is much more sweeter than I am.
Oh.
I haven't gotten there yet. Maybe the Lord Jesus needs to maybe I need to pray on it because I can't deal with toxic people, man. And it's just like I mean, like some people, yeah, when you see them on the street, you might be like, oh, hey, what's up, and keep it pushing. But I can't constantly be around them. Um, right.
No, that's why you calibrate them. That's what the calibration means. You look at them with real eyes, and do a reality check of where they need to be in your life, and you place them according to where they need to be. And you have that power to come in and leave when you need to. And the people that's causing havoc, I saw a comment, I'm not saying stay in that havoc and keep dealing with them. I'm saying remove yourself from the distance that their havoc reaches, and just be out of distance of that havoc, and learn who they are and meet them where they are. Expect who they are, that they bring havoc, and only deal with them on levels of where it is comfortable for you,
All
and
right.
remove yourself when it's
Well,
not.
before we say goodbye, I want to one last thing to bring up about the topic jealousy is um, can if you're with someone who is displaying, jealousy in forms that are just I don't want to say to the extreme like you were talking about, but like you see it little tad bits of jealousy. Um,
Mhm.
like how do you deal with that, Leah?
Okay.
Like, and it's somebody that you find value in, you like them, you may not like that aspect of them. How do you? What do you?
Hmm.
What can you do to possibly not get rid of the relationship, but maybe put it in a better place? It,
Open the communication lines so much without a
Yeah,
sliver of untruth. Tell them everything. Be light when you tell it. Don't make
yeah,
it a serious, heavy thing. Do it when you're in a good mood and it is a light conversation over ice cream. Make it so they're comfortable. Let them know the truth and everything that they need to know, and so they don't feel disrespected, so they don't feel any type of way. And really open the communication lines, even if it's just on your end talking to them. And don't stop if you don't want to give up on them. And as long as they're not taking it to a physical thing or a mental or kind of abusive way, I think that they kind of get to feel comfortable in it, and they can see that you're a type of person that doesn't require that kind of contribution to the relationship. It doesn't affect you in a manner that is positive, or that it's processed in that proper way. So I just say, tell them everything that they need to know. Give them the information that they need to
what
feel
about
comfortable in it.
as far as having like your emails and your cell phones and stuff like that? Um, like some people they will not like if they're in a relationship. They keep their cell phone. They damn near take it in the shower with them because they don't want to leave it alone. So is that like? Do you think that's a should if you're in a if a serious relationship? Yeah,
A
if you're in a
red
serious
flag.
relationship, should they be able to leave their cell phone around you? If they're not, yeah,
I mean, I mean, if you're doing good, I mean, you could be able to, but like I said, different people move differently. Everybody's
right.
doing what they do for a reason. They have grown up and walked in the steps. They have been created by their walk. And you have to respect that path. But I have had a relationship after the abusive relationship where it was very open. They tracked me on my phone to make sure I was safe. They could read my texts at the drop of a dime, and had access to every password that I had. And it was a very healthy.
We're losing you.
yeah.
Yeah, yeah. Can you
His toxic relationship. But I mean, that's
Uh-oh.
you see it.
can your man look at your cell phone, Shannon?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't post nothing on there that's inappropriate anyway, and everything that I
She
have
said, if you
on
pay
there
the
is
bill.
like I don't adult have an adult conversation. So if I leave my phone on the table, I need to pick it up because he see JoJo calling. I don't care if he answers the phone.
Or they say Pizza Hut is telling you they love you.
How?
Pizza Hut is telling you they love you.
Somebody's telling me to.
Pizza
Pizza Hut.
Hut.
First of all, you ain't gonna have my phone saved as Pizza Hut. You don't get down like that around these parts.
You love Pizza Hut.
I do not.
In the middle of the
Not
night.
not even a little bit. I don't ever Pizza Hut like that.
No,
But
no, it's not. That's not what I'm saying.
well, I know what you're saying, but I'm using it in the side jargon that you're using it in. I don't even F with other people like that. If I'm in a relationship with somebody, I'm in a relationship with that somebody. And I'm not talking to quote unquote Pizza Hut. Pizza Hut better go holler at somebody else.
Go holler at Domino's. Huh?
Yeah.
All right,
Oh, it's on me.
all right. I want to thank you, ladies, so much for being on the program. I'm gonna start off with you, Leah. How can we get you in social media? And when's your next event? Uh
Um,
oh.
I'm
Oh, there you
gonna
go.
be at Peanuts Comedy. Oh, can you hear me or no?
Yeah, yeah.
Am I fine? Oh, okay. Peanuts Comedy Slam Jam on the 28th. Laugh at My Calibration will be there as well. So if you want to come out, it's in Santa Monica. I'll put a link up somewhere on my page somewhere. But that's my next event. And I'm always open for social media marketing at my academy and new clients for life coaching
All right.
to teach you a different perspective to live a happier, fuller life because life is too
It
short.
is definitely. And what about you, Shannon? How can we get you in social media? And when is your next show, Shannon?
Let's start with the obvious. I have no idea what my next show is going to be. My life
Oh,
is kind of busy right now. I've been working more than I want. As far as follow me on social media, you can follow me on IG, Twitter, and Facebook. And then for like permanent type of things that I'm doing.
all right. You can get me
What
at
about
you can get me at MKF on Twitter. You can get me at Kente Ferguson on Instagram, and of course the website is indieradio.org. Big shout out to Ken who uh, revamped his website. Uh, go you guys and check out indieradio.org. It's revamped. Still in the process of finishing it up, but it looks really good now. So with that said, we'll catch you guys next week. God bless.